We better buckle up because I do fear this is going to be a long one. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Morgan. I am known as the Emo Knitter here on YouTube as well as on Instagram, where I like to share the things that I'm knitting. This is a traditional podcast episode. This is episode number 11. I am planning on sharing my finished objects since the last time we checked in, some works in progress, some plans. I'll do some spinning, and then at the very end we'll talk about some books. It has been a minute. In fact, it's been over a month since my last recording, and I did not intend on that, but if you're new here, I give myself grace and I show up when I can. April was very busy, so was the beginning of this month, but things are finally starting to settle down, so I thought that I would check in. I will have links for everything that I chat about below the video in the description. Please feel free to subscribe if you would like to see more of my content, and let's get started with what I'm wearing. If you are a returning viewer, you've seen this several times before. This is my balloon cardigan by Petite Knit. I knit this earlier this year. It is knitted in Explorer Knits and Fibers Denali sock plus Surrey held double in the colorway Snoqualmie. And it's just like oversized and cozy, and I love it. So I threw it on today. We're having a gloomy day here in Snoqualmie, and it seemed perfect. Let's jump into finished objects. I have 4 finished objects to share today, which is quite a bit for me, but again, it has been a while. I did not have a ton of knitting time in April, and I focused on some things that I was making for gifts. But let's start with my first finished hand-spun finished object, which is my Autumn's Tale shawl by Ozetta. So this was knitted with my very first hand-spun skeins. You can see this on the one side is thicker, it's a little bit more neppy, and then this second side is the second half of the braids that I spun, and it's a little bit more smooth. So I love that you can see the transition between like me learning in these. You can really see it on the camera here. So this is the Autumn Tales shawl by Ozetta. It has this really pretty, I think it's a slip stitch if I'm remembering correctly, border along it, and then the rest is knitted and garter stitch. You cast on one side, do increases, knit a little bit flat, and then you do decreases. This was spun using fiber from Yarn Jam. It was Shanico in the color Fall Patina, I believe, and then La Bien-Aimé's Confetti Tweed in Rest, and it just made the colors work together really well. And you can see the like tweedy neffs, which I love. I started this shawl on April 5th and finished it on April 13th. I used 185 grams of yarn, which I estimate is about 793 yards. It's pretty tricky for me to estimate how much yarn is in hand spun, but I think that that's something that will get better as I continue to spin. Let's put it on, shall we? I love these colors, and I'm so excited to wear this in the fall. I think that it turned out really good, and again, I love that you can see my progression as a spinner, and I have more spinning to show you, but I'll do that later. So yeah, this is my Autumn Tale shawl, my very first hand-spun project. I do have some leftover hand-spun from that, so I have this little mini skein. Come on. That I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with quite yet, but I will hold on to it. I'm thinking about like displaying my little leftover mini skeins from my hand spun on the wall somehow, but for now it's just hanging out. Okay, next let's talk about my Year of Socks plan. I'm behind, but that's okay. I am going to share with you the pair of socks that I knitted for the month of April, which if you watched my last episode, I actually wanted to make these for March, but then I was mashing up a couple of patterns and I didn't love it, so I frocked it, I knitted something else, and then for April I decided to knit these. So this is the Colorwork Cuff Club by Summerlee Knits. It's the March Colorwork chart. And here is what it looks like. I have not blocked these yet. I plan on doing that after I record. I have something else that I just finished that I need to block. I do have 2 finished socks. I knitted these using Explore Knits and Fibers. It was a very, very old sock set. The main color is Walks Along the Prairie, and then the gold color that I used just for the middle of the flowers is called Treasure Chest, and then this purple was just kind of a scrap that I had in my scrap bin. I restarted these on April 16th and finished them on May 11th. So they took me 25 days, which is still less than a month. I just am a little bit behind, and you will find that that is continuing into May. Excited to block these and wear them as the weather is starting to get warmer. I did knit these a little bit shorter than usual. I kind of always do a 15 round 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then I think I did a total of 30 rows for the leg, including the color work chart, and then just my normal heel flap and gusset into the toe. And yeah, I'm excited that I finally finished these socks. My next finished object is one that I actually don't have with me anymore because I gifted it, but it's one that you have seen several times on this channel, so you won't be missing out. I knitted another mini season sweater by Ozetta. I'll put a picture up so that you can see. I knitted this for my nephew who is due to be born this summer, and I actually I embroidered, I used the chain stitch with embroidery to embroider his name on the chest. I do have the swatch, so I knitted a swatch so that I could practice the embroidery. And it was actually really easy to do. I was pretty nervous, but it came out really well. And I think that that's something that I can do in the future. I had a really fun time. I used Loops and Threads Impeccable, which is a 100% acrylic yarn for this guy. And then also for the embroidered yarn, it was the same one. I started on April 9th and finished on April 28th, and I knitted a size 1, which is 1 to 2 years. And I'm just super, super, super happy with how this came out. I originally intended on using that paper that you can, it's like tracing paper kind of, where you can like write it out, you kind of pin it down to the sweater, you do the embroidery, and then it like washes away with water. But I ended up freehanding it because I didn't want to, I was in a little bit of a time crunch. I had blocked it and I didn't want to have to get it wet again in order for the paper to come off because it barely dried in time for me to gift it. So it ended up turning out just fine and I love it and I can't wait to see him in it. So yeah, that was another mini season sweater by Ozetta. My last finished object is a very long standing whip, one that I don't even think I've shared on this channel before, but I started this blanket in 2023 with no real intention of who to gift it to. I used a advent from Coast to Coast. It was her 2023 advent box. It was I'm pretty sure it was the like coffee shop, fantasy coffee shop. She's had a couple pre-orders of it from there, and I actually have some other yarn from the collection, but anyways, or maybe it was a New Year's box because the main color is called Sprinkles and it says New Year's Day 2024. So maybe it was actually a New Year's box. So I guess I would have started this in January of 2024 or maybe December 2023. Anyways, I made the Battenberg blanket by Sandra Paul and I just knitted up these granny squares, and I've had the granny squares sitting in this box for over a year. A friend of mine is having a baby also due in the summer and is not finding out the gender, and I wanted to make something special for her, and she's a very like neutral vibe gal, so I went with this. I finished this up for her and it is finished. I just finished last night adding the border, so I do need to block it, but here it is. Oh, it's kind of hard to show. But yeah, it's in all of these different shades of brown and cream and neutrals. So this is the Battenberg blanket like granny square. Super simple to make. I ended up holding, this is fingering weight yarn, I ended up holding it double for each square. And then I used the main color sprinkles for the border and the joining of the squares. I did a 1 round of single crochet and then 2 rounds of half double crochet for the border. And I think it's perfect. I'm excited to see it blocked because it's pretty like squiggly right now. But yeah, I am making this for her baby, and then I'm also making her husband and the baby matching beanies. So I just finished hers. This is the Alaska hat pattern. I can't remember who it's by. And last night I started the baby one. Just the little beginning. I am making the basic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho, which is a free pattern for this one. And this is my cute little fish stitch marker from Hello Stella. It's adorable. So anyways, we've got the brown blanket and we'll have the matching beanies. Mom, baby, and Dad will get one too. So I'm really excited about that. That's all for my finished objects today. Let's go through my works in progress. The first work in progress I want to share is in a bag by Megan Makes Do. I love this bag. It's a quilted bag. It's super, super cute. I don't know if she's still making bags, but I do love this one. This is my Eva cardigan, which I was kind of on the fence about putting into hibernation, but then I have been using it as my travel project. I've been traveling back and forth to California, I would say somewhat regularly, as my sister is nearing the end of her pregnancy. And so this has been the project that I've brought with me, and I've ended up making a lot more progress on it than I had anticipated. So this is where we're at. I am almost done the body now. I have this much yarn still caked up, and I think that I'll probably be onto the ribbing before this ball is finished, but we will see. I will show you my progress. Last time I put the stitch marker in, so I've made a few inches of progress. Again, this is the Eva cardigan by Petite Knit. I am knitting this using Farmers Fibers Pishkun, which is a worsted weight. It's 100% Rambouillet from Montana and Wyoming. And this is the color White Johnny Ringo. I put in a new cake and thought that I could tell, but now I can't. Do you feel like you can see where the new skein started? I don't know if I'm going to be able to see on camera. It's looking a lot. Maybe not. Also, it's super wrinkled because I just had it kind of shoved in this bag. I'm going to move my stitch marker and we'll see how much progress I get done in the next few weeks here, but I'm really looking forward to this. When I'm done with this ball of yarn, I think that I'm going to go ahead and pick up for one of the sleeves, and then I'll probably do the button band and then the second sleeve. But yeah, I'm really excited. I do think that this is a cardigan that I can wear a lot more than I think I was expecting. It is worsted weight, but it's not super heavy. The gauge is pretty loose. I am knitting this on a 3.75 millimeter needle. I'm pretty sure I had to, I'm a loose knitter. I'm pretty sure I had to size down. I think just one needle size, so maybe it's recommended for a 4 or 4.5. I did gauge swatch. But yeah, the construction's really interesting, and I think the fit's going to be really nice. I have been trying this on as I go, and initially I was a little nervous about the size of the armholes, but I put it on a little bit of a bigger barber cord and it's looking a lot better now. So yeah, maybe I'll be done with the body next time I check in. Wishful thinking, I don't know. But I have really been enjoying this. I am not typically someone who enjoys knitting flat stockinette because I don't love purling, but I have actually really enjoyed working on that lately. The next work in progress is one that I have had on the needles for a long time, but I don't think I've talked about it on the channel before. I have been using this as, like, I guess you would say similar to like a prayer shawl, where someone's going through a hard time and you pick it up whenever you're thinking about them. I am not religious, but I saw that idea and loved it. I have a good friend of mine who's been going through fertility for a really long time, and she got pregnant. And so I started this sweater for her before, was she doing IUI? I can't remember. At some point in her fertility journey. And she's also due this summer. Anyways, I have now finished the body, but this is the Petite Knit Festival sweater. I am knitting a size 5, which is size 6 to 9 months. My main color is Sorella Classic Sock in the color Sea Oats. This is a 100% superwash merino. And then for the like stripy contrasts, I'm just using scrap yarns. I actually have them up on my shelf, but I'm just using scrap yarns. She is also not finding out the gender, so I've just kind of picked a palette and went with it. But this is where we're at. Oh my god, it's so cute. So I do know a few. This is a coast to coast colorway. I think this is Red Door Fibers. I'm sure there's some Explorer Knits and Fibers and some Woolberry and some Hello Stella in here, but I am really, really, really loving how this is coming out. Look how little it is. So I just finished the body a couple days ago. I just have the sleeves to go, and I'm really excited. We're throwing a baby shower for her next month, so I will have this finished. And then I was kind of thinking with, okay, so I have 2 skeins of this yarn. I have this left from the first skein, and then I have the full second one left. And I'm kind of toying with the idea of knitting my friend, the mom, a pair of matching socks. So we'll see if I end up doing that. I don't think that they would be done for the baby shower, but maybe I'll get them to her like when she's in labor or something. I don't know. We'll see, but I love this pattern. It is fingering weight, but I do find that it works up really quickly. It's very, I think people say potato chippy, wanting to get to the next stripe. I think I did 10 rounds of the main color in between each stripe, and there is some neck shaping in the back with German short rows. I freaking love this. I can see myself knitting this pattern again and again and again. It's just really cute, and I'm excited to gift it to her. My last work in progress is also one that I have not shared on the channel before, and that's because it is a newer cast on. I have this in this super cute Friends bag. Let me see if I can figure out who it's by. Oh, excuse me. It's by Fancy Boy Designs. I would have probably found this on Etsy. Super, super cute. I casted on the Harvest Tea by Ozetta. I picked up this yarn from my local yarn shop, The Nifty Knitter in Issaquah. And this is Illimani Sabri. It's an 85% organic cotton and 15% baby alpaca. And it is colorway 82 or cream. So I picked up a few of these. It's fingering weights. And again, I am knitting the Harvest Tea by Ozetta, which is a very basic t-shirt pattern. It is knitted bottom up. So I casted this on April 16th. So it's been on my needles for an entire month. But again, it's been a busy month. I've been working on finishing a lot of things, and this is my progress. Oh no, I just dropped a stitch. I believe I knit 12 inches or something like that before I get to, I believe I knit 12 inches or so before I start separating for the front and back. So I think I'm about halfway there. Shall we measure? Where's my measuring tape? If you know me, you know that I also usually check sizes with my fingers because I'm a labor and delivery nurse, but this is larger than 10 centimeters, so let's see. Yeah, it's about 6 inches, so I'm about halfway there. This, when I pick it up, is like super easy. It's rhythmic. It's just stockinette, 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 stockinette. I just like don't always want to knit straight up stockinette, so I'm taking my time with it. I did put a marker in when I was working on it, my last stretch off, and I think I got like 3 inches. So let's move this again and see how much I can get done the next time I check in. I'm on a long stretch off right now, so, and I don't have very many whips on the needles right now, so maybe I'll get some good progress on there. But yeah, that is my Harvest Tea by Ozetta. Okay, while we are talking about that yarn that I got from the Nifty Knitter, I will show you I also got this yarn. It's the same yarn dyer or yarn company. This is a DK weight. It's Illimani Sabri 2, 85% organic cotton and 15% baby alpaca again. Colorway 85, which is brown. And I'm planning on making the Vegas top, which I can't remember who it's by. Hang on. I'm planning on making the Vegas top by Suzanne Mueller, which is a pretty basic tank top pattern. I just really like the construction. I like that it's not a low neck, but it's also not a mock neck. It just kind of scoops. And I really like the shaping for the armpits. It just is really cute. So I'm not sure when I'll cast this on, but hopefully in the near future. And then I also have a book acquisition. I saw on Marlene Knit's channel, she had, I don't know if the right term is test knitted or sample knitted, but for this book, 52 Weeks of Sock or Scrap Yarn. This is by Lane Knits, or Lane Publishing. And she had knitted the patchwork socks, which I just think are so cute. I had to have them. So I love these socks. And then I went through the book and I tabbed several other projects that I think are like super scrappy and fun, like this kind of basic raglan, it looks like sweater, but with embroidered flowers on it. Super cute way to use up scraps. And then I loved this scrappy cardigan. Oh, and I also loved these socks. So just some cute scrappy socks, scrappy projects. There's lots of shawls, lots of sweaters. There's also a few accessories in here that I thought were really cute. There's a couple of bags that, I don't know, if you're feeling ambitious, one of them is so stinking cute. It has it's kind of like a fanny pack. Am I thinking of the right book? Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's a fanny pack, but it has a sewn in liner. But it's so cute. And it looks like the book has pretty good instructions on how to sew in the liner. I am not a sewist. I do hope to learn probably next year if I'm being realistic when I'm done with grad school. But yeah, super cute patterns. Good way to work up scraps. So I am super pleased that I picked this book up. 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn by Lane Publishing. Let's get into plans because I have a few. The first plan I have is to finally cast on my May socks, and I'm planning on using a pattern from the Sock Project book by Summer Lee. I picked out the Seafarer socks. It's gonna be pretty hard to see because they're like neon yellow, but they are kind of a like ribbed plus cabled sock. I think they'll be super quick to work up. It is a sock or fingering weight yarn, but I think that patterns like that are super easy to knit up quickly because they're kind of addicting. You know, I want to get to the next cable row and the next cable row and the next cable row, and then the next thing you know, they're done. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I think I finally picked out what color. This is Coast to Coast Yarn Co. Midnight Crescent. And this is natural sock. It's 100% non-superwash merino, so actually maybe this is not the best thing. There's no nylon in it. Let me look again. Okay, I think I will go back to my original plan, which is the sock set by Woolberry Fiber Co. This is the colorway is Autumn in Vancouver. It has a really pretty, like mustardy contrast color. It's 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. I think that I would do the whole sock in this color here and like the main color, and then maybe do the toe in the gold, or let me look at the pattern again. Oh yeah, I could do the rib too. Just like a little rib pop. I can't tell if you can see. A little rib pop in the gold. That's probably what I'll do. I do love this yarn by Coast to Coast, but I am nervous about knitting socks with no nylon in them and the durability. And this is the color that I would wear the crap out of, so I want to make sure that they'll hold up. If you have knitted socks in non-superwash yarn with no nylon and it's worked out well for you, please let me know, because I would love to use these for socks. But if not, I'll find another project for it. I think I have 2 skeins, so I could do like a mini mock neck or something like that. These are not things I should be thinking about right now. Anyways, this is my plan for my May socks, and I will cast these on today, mark my words. It is May 16th, I'm casting this on today. My next plan is fluid, because I don't exactly know what I want to do yet. I am going to be living in California for almost a month when my sister has her baby. My cat's coming with me, and I'm just gonna help her kind of figure out the first few weeks. It's her first baby. Her and her husband asked if I would, and I could not say yes fast enough. My younger sister is my very best friend. There's no one else in my life that I talk to every single day the way that I talk to her, and so I would quite literally bend over backwards, sell my kidney. I would do anything to help her. So I am trying to figure out what project I want to bring with me, and I think that I want to bring something new and only bring one project plus it'll be my July socks. So I'm kind of going back and forth. I had gauge swatched, you can see here, for the Afra sweater by Irene Lynn, using this yarn. It's for Knits and Fibers Fireheart, which is probably definitely my favorite brown to ever exist in a yarn, and that's a bold statement that I will stand by. I am so obsessed with this colorway from the moment I saw it. I think I bought it every single time that she's put it in an update because I cannot get enough. This is my swatch, but this sweater pattern has lived rent-free in my brain for a very long time, and I would love to knit it, but I'm going back and forth between that and the Book Club cardigan by Sari Nordland, which I plan on knitting in Coast to Coast Yarn Co. The colorway is Kappa, and this is her natural worsted base. 100% non-superwash merino. I have not swatched for this yet, and maybe I should do that just so that I can see how complex the cabling is. I understand it's an all over cabled project, and it's a cardigan, so it's very complicated, will we say? I guess not complicated, like it's not hard, it's just one that you have to like focus on, and that might be answering my question right there. If I'm like knitting while like trying to help with a baby, I don't know that that's the best idea. So maybe I will do the Afra. But if you have advice, suggestions, opinions, please let me know. I do think that I'll have a lot of downtime, so I think that I will be able to knit a lot. I am planning on taking the quarter off of school. So this is July going into August. I think mid-August is when I would restart school. So I also have a lot of time, but I could start the book club cardigan when I get back from California and have that be my like transition into fall knit. I might have just made my decision live on camera for you. So maybe I'll do the Afra, which is a beautiful pattern by Irene Lim. But as I've said before, I'm taking opinions, advice, encouragement, personal history. Let me know what you think. Before we get into book chat, I would love to talk about my latest hand spun. I truly and honestly cannot believe how quickly I have, one, fallen absolutely in love with spinning, but two, like become pretty consistent with my spins, and I'm Not saying that to brag, but I feel like I'm kind of a natural. This was my first hand spun project, which you saw earlier I knitted my autumn tail shawl with. And so this is only my second hand spun braid ever. So I got a braid from Moondrake at La Mercerie. I'm going to show you, this is my spinning journal. I just like haven't really done anything, but this is the fiber I used. It's by Moondrake. It's 100% non-superwash Corriedale, and it's a 4 ounce. It was a braid. It was a roving, not a comb top. I wonder if that's why it felt so, like, I think the word is toothy. Please let me know if, come here. My cat's kind of going bonkers in the corner right now because I have a door closed to try and avoid this glitter on my glasses. Anyways, I am wondering if this being a roving and not a combed top is why the yarn was kind of toothy. If you think so, if you have any expertise in spinning, please let me know. But anyways, it was a 4 ounce braid, and what I did was I split it in half. One half of the braid started with like a brown color and one half of the braid started with like a pinky color. So I split it in half and I started one half of the spin on the brown side and the other half of the spin on the like pinky side. And then I spun the singles into a 2-ply. And I am so in love with the result. You guys, it's so good. What? I made this, and then I have a little teeny tiny one. I do need to learn that I don't need to completely fill up a bobbin, and I could have made these a little bit more even, but I do love the idea of having a teeny tiny little leftover skein. Maybe one day I'll knit like a little hand spun blanket with these leftovers, but oh my god, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So I used my little tool, let me grab it. I used my little tool and my Nitty Knotty, which I got on Amazon for very cheap, by the way. It's just, I think it's 3D printed, is that what it's called? And it's a 2-yard Nitty Knotty, and when I counted my like wraps, I'm gonna use my notes so I don't forget. This little one had 32 wraps. Multiplied by 2 is 64 because there's 2. Am I wrong? 32 times 2 times 2 is how you figure out the yardage, I'm pretty sure. Yes, because it's doubled. So it gets wrapped around 4 times total. Anyways, so I'm pretty sure this is about 128 yards. And when I weighed it earlier, it is 18 grams. And then this big honker is 104 grams. And there's no way my math is correct. So please someone help me. So I wrapped this around my Nitty Knotty 153 times. Times 2 times 2 means 612 yards. There's no way. There's quite literally no way that this is 612 yards. So I don't know how much yarn this is. But anyways, I have this tool that I got at La Mercerie, where I also got the fiber, basically all of the fiber. And when I put it up, I don't want to uncake that one, but I'll uncake this one, or Hank. I can see that this is, it's like pretty darn thin. In some places, it's like a fingering, god dang, sorry. This is like a fingering to lace weight. Let me find a thicker strand. This one's thicker. And this one here is like a sport weight. So I'm pretty sure I spun a sport weight. Who is she? Anyways, all this to say, I'm trying to figure out what I want to make with it. And I really want to make something wearable. I want to make something that I can like wear on my body, and I'm not a big accessories person. This autumn teal shawl that I knitted with my first hand spun is like the only shawl I've ever made. I don't wear a ton of shawls. Like, I don't need more than one shawl, that's for sure. And I do feel like I have a pretty solid amount of this. So I'm wanting to do some sort of like tank or like vest or like t-shirt, but I only have the one skein. I could get more from La Mercerie and spin it, but like then I'm gonna do that every single time I only have one skein of a hand spun yarn, so I can't. My original goal was to knit a pair of socks out of this, but I don't know if I want to do that because again, there's no nylon in it, and I don't want to end up with something that's ruined. So things that I've been thinking about are the vacation vest by Park and Knit. It's like a pretty simple stockinette. I'll put a picture. It's a pretty simple stockinette vest that like has, I would do like little ties probably in the front. I've also thought about a ranunculus, doing a short sleeved version with like just like a super open gauge with this. Yeah, it's hard because I don't really know how much yardage I have. If you have tips, suggestions for figuring out yardage, please let me know, because I just, oh my gosh, there's no way this is 600 yards, right? Like, quite simply, there's no way. Let me grab a sport weight from my stash. I found a couple of sport weights that I have. These I have in the queue for a pressed flowers cardigan. Will I ever get to it? One day. So this is Spinster's Daughter Sport from Farmer's Daughter Fibers and Spin Cycle, and it's 300 yards per skein. It doesn't tell me how much it is, but this seems way, maybe it is 600 yards, Jesus. And then this one is just Spin Cycle. This is 200 yards, and again, it doesn't tell me how much it weighs, so that's not very helpful, is it? But I don't know, these just seem this seems like double the size. I don't know. Somebody, I would love some help here. You are welcome to DM me on Instagram. I am definitely looking for advice, or you can leave a comment here. I'm a little lost, but if you have suggestions for a possibly 600 yard hand spun project, or something that you can think of that I can make that's kind of along those lines, like I would really love just like something to commemorate this yarn. It's gorgeous. The pinks, the blues, the browns, the tans, I just love it, and I would love to make something that I'm gonna wear in it. Okay, that's it for spinning. I don't know what I'm gonna spin next. I have a few braids to choose from, but I haven't gotten there yet because this just got applied and washed yesterday, or 2 days ago. It just finished drying this morning, so very much fresh project. Okay, that is it for the knitting chat and the spinning chat. I understand that some of you are only here for the crafts, and that's okay. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, I just want to say thank you for being here. For those of you that are interested in some book chatter, stick around because we've got a lot of it. Okay, this is what we have going down. First, I have a couple book pickups, and then we'll talk about books that I've recently read. Oh, I just dropped fuzz in my coffee. That's a bummer. A couple book pickups, what I've recently finished, and then what I am currently reading. So I have been doing book of the month for a couple of years. My sister and I buy each other a membership for Christmas every year. And so this month I picked up the new book by Alex North, The Man Made of Smoke. He's written several books that I've loved. The Whisper Man, that one with the creepy pictures. Anyways, I'm excited to read this. I'm finishing up a book in the next couple of days, and this will be my next read because I'm really looking forward to this. The next book that I picked up is from the same author as the most messed up book I have ever read in my entire life. Her name is Augustina Bazterrica, and I'm pretty sure that her books are all translated into English. I can't remember what... yeah, this is translated by Sarah Moses. I can't remember what language she originally speaks, but anyways, this is called The Unworthy. The other book of hers that I've read is called Tender is the Flesh. Let me make sure I'm right. Yeah, Tender is the Flesh, which is absolutely, without a doubt, the most messed up, horrific book I've ever read in my life. It is so gruesome, so gory that I cannot in good conscience recommend it. But if you're into really messed up stuff, it's good. The basis, I will tell you, it is basically about a butcher shop or slaughterhouse, whatever, for humans. So very dark. And I'm hoping that this is also very dark. If you didn't know that that's who I am, now you know. I finished the Lightlark series, which is by Alex Astor. I think I was either reading or finished with Lightlark, the first book, the last time we checked in. I have since read the second book, which is Nightbane, and the third, which is Skyshade. I loved Lightlark, loved it. I loved Nightshade, loved it, and I nearly threw, Nightbane. I nearly threw Skyshade out of the window of an airplane several times. Oh God, it's such a bummer because this fantasy series, these two books, the fantasy series is so good. The adventure is awesome. There's a love triangle, but it's manageable in these two books. It is so drawn out in this third book. I wanted to scream. Oh my gosh. The only reason I finished it was so that I could give it a 2-star review on Goodreads. In good conscience, because I finished it. It is... God, it was such a bummer. Also, I'm pretty sure this is a 3-book series, and it ended kind of on a cliffhanger, so I'm not sure. I would recommend, I don't even know if I could recommend the series because I hated the third book so much, which is such a bummer, but I really, really, really loved Lightlark and I loved Nightbane. One of the love interests, Grimm, really reminds me of someone in my life, and I was really rooting for him the whole time because I just pictured it as someone that I know. And I'm really, really disappointed with Skyshade. Also, it was like love triangle, love triangle, love triangle, and then action packed into like 75 pages with so many typos. Like, I am horrified that she didn't have a better editor for this book. Like, please. Please. That's how I feel, thank you. Before I read that series, actually, I read Stephen King's The Mist, which is a story that takes place in the series of like 2 or 3 days. It's horror, it's Stephen King, it was great, I loved it. It's a novella, it's 165 pages. Super easy to read. This was my palette cleanser between Mark Hoppus's Fahrenheit 182, which I read and loved, and this fantasy series. After this fantasy series, I needed something to cure me. I was so frustrated. So I picked up The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, and I've seen the series before, and I loved the series. I have what I call book slash TV show amnesia. I can watch something and then a few weeks later I remember nothing about it. So it's a blessing in disguise because I didn't remember anything about this book and I loved it. The characters are very whimsical. For some reason, I always picture the main characters of this book, Theodora and Eleanor, as cats. I don't know why. They're just like kind of silly and goofy. I think, yeah, anyways. This was great. It kept me up at night. It was spooky and wonderful. Highly recommend. The last book that I finished recently is one that I've shared here before. This is my like morning read, and it's I'm Sorry for My Loss. This is a book about reproductive care in America. It is probably the most, like, personally, career-wise, probably the most important book I've ever read in my life. The biggest takeaway for me with this book is that as someone who works in reproductive care, or who works, I'm a labor and delivery nurse, our words really fucking matter. The things that we say, the terminology we use, which a lot of times is medical terminology, it really matters and it really makes an impact, and I think that it's important. It has definitely changed the way that I have said things both to patients and also to my coworkers, like at the nurse's station when we're chatting. It's already made an impact on who I am as a nurse, and I'm looking forward to sharing this with everyone that I know. I am a big advocate for women's health. I think that if men had periods, went through menopause, gave birth, like had boobs, like our world would be a different place. Women have been overlooked for a very, very long time, and as a grad student in exercise science, I am learning that more and more every single day, where all of these studies are done on men and there's no women in these studies because they have periods or they're in menopause or they just gave birth, and it's not fucking fair. That's how I feel. We'll snowball off of that because my next morning read that I just started this morning is Up to Speed by Christine Yu. It is the groundbreaking science of women athletes. I just read the intro this morning, but I can already tell that I'm gonna love it. This relates both to bodily autonomy as females, understanding our bodies more, and exercise science. So this is very much right up my alley. In the introduction, it says that she, at the end of this book, has a period where she looks at the challenges women face during 3 critical life stages: adolescence, pregnancy, and the postpartum period, and the menopause transition. So I am very, very, very excited to read this book, and I'm excited to see what other books she recommends throughout this one that I can pick up next. So really excited about this one. Okay, my current fun read, that's whatever, is Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. This was a book of the month. It doesn't tell you anymore, you know, it used to say book of the month May 2025 or whatever. It doesn't say that anymore, but I think I picked this up in March or April, and it's been kind of all over. I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on Goodreads, and like everyone's reading this right now. I have like 75 pages to go, I think, so I'm nearly finished. This is a story that is told in the perspective of a woman who is consequently also kind of in a love triangle. She is married to a farmer, and she reflects on her past love interest from like high school years, who is now a published author. It talks about heartbreak and loss, and it's just really fun. There's a little murder mystery involved too that I'm just now getting to the bottom of, which has been exciting. But I am enjoying this. It is definitely more romance than I think I expected. For some reason I thought this was a historical fiction, but also this is up for debate. This book is set in like a couple different time zones, and the current time is 1968, and the before I think is probably like the late 1950s. That's not historical fiction. Please tell me that's not historical fiction. Is it? Are the 1900s historical fiction? It's fine. Anyways, I have enjoyed this it's again more romance than I expected, but I am enjoying it. I'm reading it quickly. I only started this 4 or 5 days ago and I'll finish it today or tomorrow. I love reading while I walk on the treadmill, and so books like this with hardcovers and big text are super nice for me. So I do think that I would recommend this one. As I said, my next read will be this guy. I need some more horror in my life, and then I might dive into this guy, but who knows. I think I am on a break with fantasy for now. My sister and I, when she has her baby in July, are planning on starting the Throne of Glass series together, so I think that I'm done with fantasy until that happens. I think that that's all I have to share today. This is a very long one. It's been 56 minutes, so if you tuned in this long, thank you so much. I would love to hear what you're reading. I also have tossed around the idea before about doing a little book club. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. I would put up a poll. I'm thinking I would put up a poll, and it probably would be like fiction, nonfiction, historical fiction, like nothing like fantasy. Like I wouldn't do that. Like if there are any horror girlies, like maybe, but probably something like pretty basic, like some Kristen Hanna, something like that is what I'm thinking. But if you would be interested in that, please let me know. If you have any suggestions for my handspun, let me know. I would love to know what you're reading and what summer projects you have on your needles, because it is gloomy, but I'm thinking about summer knits. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Morgan, and I am so happy to have you here. I will catch up with you next time. Happy knitting.